River City Podcast Federation.
Welcome back to Laughing in the Dark, the podcast where I hang out in haunted places with comedians. I'm your host, Sara Jones. For this episode, I got to hang out in Seattle with the very funny Derek Sheen. Derek Sheen is a recording artist for Stand Up Records. His third album, Disasterbation, is available on iTunes, Amazon, and Spotify. Derek tours regularly with Brian Posehn, and you can check out his website, DerekSheenRules.com, for upcoming dates. That's DerekSheenRulz.com. Derek and I visited a park in Seattle on a beautiful summer evening in a little spot known as Gaines Point, right by a magnificent lake. We experienced such magical synchronicity throughout the entire night. If you'd like, take a look at our Instagram at Lit Dark Podcast. That's at LITDARK Podcast for pictures that go along with the episode. I hope you enjoy our adventure. So it's a grove of poplar trees. Do you know what those look like?
I believe so.
Okay.
And they'll be close to the community center?
Yep.
All right.
Is that it? Is that the community center?
I don't know. That might be the boathouse. Let's check.
Okay.
Let's walk down.
Maybe those are the poplar trees. But if not, there's the lake right there, so it could be right around here.
Yeah, I thought it was on the lake. Because there's also a theater there, too.
Oh, look how pretty the moon is.
Oh, it's gorgeous out here. Such a cool park.
Yeah. So we are in...
I honestly think this is the pool.
Oh, okay. But it's all part of the community center, right? Or no?
Possibly.
I could look up what a poplar tree looks like, because I feel like I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's just trees.
There's so many trees.
I was like, oh, it's just a standard
This could be
tree.
anybody's game.
Yeah.
This could be, any tree could say it's a poplar at this point.
Yeah.
I'm a poplar. Sure you are.
I was like, yeah, that just looks like a tree to me, really. It's not like a weeping willow or something,
yeah.
You know?
Maybe this is the community center. Let's double check.
I would imagine it is. Really cooled down. It was pretty hot today.
Yeah, it's nice, actually. This is a really nice evening. Look out for that. Looks like a big hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. This is the kind of night you kind of want to be out here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was warm today. It was hot today, but it was perfect.
I was in the car most of the day.
Oh, that sucks.
I know.
Yeah, today was one of those days where I actually got up and I decided I was going to work in the yard. Because it was nice and it was hot.
Yeah, it was the perfect day for that. And it was fine. It was a good drive. But it was 3.5 hours. So I was like, I'm going to go the whole way without taking a pee break. And I almost did.
Oh, you almost made it.
2.5 hours in, I was like, fuck, I have to.
Oh, God damn it.
And I stopped at a Taco Bell and it added 40 minutes onto my trip just from going off. And I had to do one of those things where you're like, hopefully it's right off the exit. And I'll go in, I'll pee,
I fucking hate that when you get off because you saw the sign.
Not exactly.
It's a mile and a half.
And you know what else happened while I was doing it? The car in front of me did one of those things where a light turned green and they just kept sitting there and I had to tap my horn at them. I was like, for real?
You guys fucking kidding me?
I just have to pee, that's it. Oh well, I made it here. And they upgraded my hotel, which was awesome.
Oh, that part is dope, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a community center.
They're like, is it okay if we put you in a palace for the night? And I was like, that'll be fine.
I really don't like to because I am such a socialist.
Yeah, definitely.
I cannot, I can't live in some bourgeoisie loft for 3 days.
No, I don't have that problem at all.
No, and me either. I'm like fucking, is it a nice room? Has it got a huge TV? Does it have a bathtub and a shower in it? Perfect.
I don't know, but I think so.
Okay, so let's see.
Yeah, community center hours.
Oh, look at that.
Community center.
This is it.
So, close to here, there's a grove of poplar trees, which must be these.
I think those white ones.
Poplar tree looks like. That's helpful because it's the future. We can just do that. Polar poplar trees. See what I mean? They're just fucking trees.
Oh, wait. Okay, make them bigger here.
Oh, that's a cottonwood, and they're not cottonwood.
Nope.
But they're different types of poplar trees. So it's like a whole genus or something of. Is that the right word? Genus?
Yeah.
Well,
they just look like fucking trees.
See what I mean?
Let's take a walk around them.
Oh, okay, just look for trees. I think it's probably going to be right here.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be close to the lake, which unfortunately is where it seems like there's a group of people.
Oh, yeah.
So that sucks. But we'll find a place.
We'll make it work.
Oh, this scared the shit out of these strangers.
Oh, shit.
Want to go down through here? There's like a little path.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little path, right?
Yeah. So we found a group of teenagers. They're probably getting hammered.
Yeah. And watch out for dog shit because nobody curbs their dog here. That's
really?
very important.
Is that a thing in Seattle?
Yeah, they're real buttholes about
Holy
it.
shit, look how pretty that is.
Yeah, this is gorgeous, right?
I'm going to take pictures too for the Instagram. I should do that right now, actually. To get that out of the way.
Oh, yeah, get that out of the way now.
Well, we could sit in like a quiet place over here, maybe. Do you know Alex Rios?
Yeah.
I actually forgot to take enough pictures with his episode, so.
Oh, no.
I'm going to have to, I'll just take like historical pictures.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, look at this. Look at that animal.
It should be a duck.
It was a big, is it a duck? It flew down at the heron.
Oh.
That's a heron right there, look.
Yep.
I can't take a picture of it because it won't come out. Right? I could try.
Well, that's awesome. That's what they were all doing, is getting geared up.
Oh, they're going on a bike ride or something?
They'll have their lights on.
But I thought they were rollerblading at first.
That's what I thought too.
Look at this.
Oh, it's a crane.
Oh, it's a crane.
Yeah.
Let's see how close I can get.
He literally just posed for your picture.
I know, but it's like Pokemon Snap. Okay, I'm freaking him out. Maybe I should leave. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I've never seen a crane, have you? Like,
oh, yeah.
Like that?
They're awesome. Look at that. That's a great picture of it.
It's really blurry.
I mean, you got close.
Yeah.
At night.
I wish you could tell, like, how close it is. Like, camera. Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Look at it.
Yeah.
Look, he's just hanging out.
He's just going to come right up.
Here or something?
That's
so
great.
Cool. You know what I want to do now? I want to, like, look up animal, like, what crane. It's a crane, right?
Crane.
Like, oh, look at that. How cool.
We have a lot of whooping cranes here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not necessarily in Seattle proper, but they come out here because we have so many lakes.
Mm-hmm.
Where I grew up in South Seattle, they actually had a preserve for cranes.
Oh,
and a lot of them lived there, hundreds of them.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's dope. It's such a beautiful view.
It really is. I did not expect this place to be so gorgeous. I mean, like...
It's so dumb how pretty it is.
Yeah. Well, let's find a quiet place to kind of hang out.
Grove of trees.
So I can read my notebook.
Oh, yeah, because it's really dark out here.
Yeah. And I'll, like, use my phone as a flashlight. Damn, it seems like a lot of kids hang out here.
Yeah, especially in the summertime.
Yeah.
Poplars.
Is this a grove of poplar trees? Is all of this?
I think over here.
Over there? Over there.
Well, it's closer to the lake, right? That's what you said?
Yeah,
Oh.
we probably want to be close to the lake. Why don't we just sit on the edge right here where the crane is?
Sure.
I feel like
that
the
works.
crane is kind of like directing us. I don't know why, but it just feels that way.
Yeah, it's pulling us over here.
just the fact that this crane is so cool with us being here is kind of weird. Like, how close is it letting us be, you know? Crazy. How close would you say that crane is, Dustin?
It's really close to you. It's really close.
I think...
It's not scared at all.
4 feet?
Or
is that
she?
5 feet? Or she? Is like 5 feet away from us.
Oh, if that. It's less than 5 feet. Hi, buddy.
Hi, lady. Hey, Angel.
I got any food? Do you have fish?
No, I don't.
Do you have any fish or kale? Do you have any kale?
If I had fish.
That bird would come home with you.
I was like, I always keep fish on me.
I always have a can of sardines in my purse.
You don't? Just in case a crane comes up.
Have you never taken a survival class?
Yeah. You never know when you're going to need some fish. This is beautiful.
Yeah, this is awesome.
We'll talk about the story, and then I have like weird theories about this crane. Let's get into it, right?
Let's get into it.
Okay. So we are... You want to hear the story? We are at Gaines Point. This is the Green Lake Park, but this area is called Gaines Point. It's in a grove of poplar trees close to the Green Lake Community Center. 22-year-old Sylvia Gaines was murdered on June 16th of 1926. Do you remember what day it is today?
Holy shit.
Yeah, dude.
Nice timing. Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, let's explain to listeners what just happened.
Wow.
All right.
Oh no. Oh no. Before this we had like a 3-hour talk about like horror movies and synchronicity and how things line up, events line up. It was very interesting, and then that happened, which is hilarious.
And to describe what just happened, okay, so I just dropped, for listeners, this episode won't come out actually until the 4th of July of 2018. So first of all, happy Independence Day, America.
Yes.
But for us, in the past, which is our present, today is June 16th of 2018. Sylvia Gaines was murdered in this very spot on this very night 92 years ago. Not bullshitting you.
Holy shit.
Now,
Wow. I
knew that coming in, obviously.
Okay.
I took the notes, I did the research.
Yeah.
There's no way I could have prepared for the fact that when we first got to this park, it's literally a park. You might actually be able to hear like kids in the background. They're probably getting fucking high. Like, I don't know what they're doing back there. But we got here, we're kind of scoping it out. It's gorgeous. It's right next to this huge lake. This is Green Lake. And it's speckled with lights, and the trees are like silhouetted against the sky. The moon is shining and it's beautiful.
The lake is like a solid sheet of glass.
Yeah. And we got here and I saw like wings kind of come down at first. And I thought, oh, what is that? And then I realized, I was like, oh, that's like a heron. And you were like, no, that's a crane. And then as I got closer to it, I realized this thing's not scared of me at all. It let me get very close to it. And
Yes.
I took a good picture for you guys. I'll put it on the Instagram. And in my mind, I was like, what if that's Sylvia Gaines? What if that is the woman we're here to talk about? And so Derek and I sat down. We're right next to the lake on these stone steps. And we sat down feet away from the crane. The crane is
It let us sit. It let us sit really close.
I took another couple close-up pictures of it, so I'll post those. And right when I dropped the bomb on Derek that this woman was murdered on this very night, the crane flew away. Right when I asked him if he remembered the date.
It was so poetic.
It was so
poetic and so,
yeah.
holy shit, what a perfect moment.
That was amazing. Today's rad. Okay. So anyway, back to Sylvia. Her body was found on the morning of June 17th of 1926 by 2 carpenters on their way to work right here on the north end of Seattle's Green Lake. Originally, they found her slippers, then they walked a little further and found her body. There was clear evidence of a struggle. Someone had attempted to choke Sylvia, who, at only 22 years old, fought back and actually appeared to have attempted to swim away from her attacker. It was determined later by the coroner that Sylvia had actually died in the water and that her body had been dragged away from where she died to where she was eventually found. Dirt in her right shoe tipped investigators off that she had been moved after she had died, and her clothes had been ripped off, suggesting that she had been sexually assaulted. So at first I was thinking, like, why would dirt in your shoe, how would they be able to tell that you got moved? But it's probably like the sediment in the dirt was maybe different than where the location her body was found.
I imagine if she was in the lake, then she had sand and other things in her shoes. Which, back then, this wasn't all here. Yeah. Like, this part of the whole park was still in development. Mm-hmm. But it was not, like, it wasn't a well-traveled place back in the 20s. Yeah. Because, the population is still really low here. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure, you had sediment and sand and... we're very close to a weird little man-made beach, but this wasn't here before, so it was probably just park.
Here. Yeah, it was a park, for sure. So it was probably like there's normal dirt in the park and then like sand from the lake. Yeah, it's probably something like that. So it doesn't say anywhere if it had been confirmed that she was sexually assaulted, but from the wording of the articles, it basically sounds like the killer wanted it to look as though someone had sexually assaulted her, but hadn't actually done so. Maybe to make it look... there's like teenagers swimming.
They're swimming.
If you hear that, it's not a ghost. It's just kids.
I mean, we don't know.
They're ghost kids.
Yeah, they're ghost kids.
They're all just like, dude, don't be a pussy. It's not that cold. It kind of sounded like the killer wanted it to look like she was assaulted, but that she actually wasn't. Maybe to look like some maniac on the loose killed her. But I also wouldn't entirely rule out that maybe she was sexually assaulted post-mortem, which is especially fucked up. I'm not sure if they did rape kits in the 20s.
They didn't. I don't think they didn't because they didn't have DNA testing back then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I imagine because it was still a pretty prurient time, they probably, if she was sexually assaulted, they probably would be as vague as possible about mentioning because it would be too traumatic for readers at the time.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They were very, very careful about it. The weird thing about that time period, by the way, is they would post the most fucked up murder photos of like fucking gangland shootings and homicides and hangings. Mm-hmm. But when it came to like women, they were very careful about like, just because they didn't want to, they already hypersexualized women in the 20s. Yeah. So they were like, we can't show a dead lady because that wouldn't be proper. Yeah. So there wasn't a lot of that unless it was Bonnie and Clyde or. Yeah. But
we have to move. This is too loud.
Yeah. And they were also super careful about talking about sexual crimes back then. Because they were not because they were worried anybody would copy them, but because men were so fucking can't talk about sex. Yeah, ladies are present.
They can't even show a couple in the same bed in their movies. Yeah.
So they were really. I mean, that was just a really fucked up, stupid time.
Maybe we can like sit over. Damn, I wish those guys weren't so loud.
What the fuck, right?
Yeah.
Jesus, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah. So a car just drove into the park?
Yeah. This is fucking nuts. This is nuts. I mean, it is very weird that we're having this kind of energy while we're having this.
Even that lady who walked at the restaurant, who walked by us multiple times, and it kept looking like she was staring at me, and then she was staring at the person behind me. Yeah. That was creeping me out. It was really. Like, there's a dog next to me.
She was really fucking weird, and she kept walking by the table.
She did. Well, the first time, I thought she was staring me down, and I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then she goes, I love your dog, to the people behind us. You want to sit, like, maybe over there by those boats? Yeah. I'm trying to find the least populated areas. And then the second time she was coming by, and now I'm like, that dog is gone, so she's not looking at the dog. No. And then she complimented the lady behind me on like her shirt or something.
Yeah, she just kept hanging out in front, and nobody ever came to claim her.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of like canoes here.
Yeah.
For all the research I did, I didn't realize this is such a popular
I didn't
hangout
realize it
spot.
was this busy.
Yeah. Well, it is a nice night here.
Yeah.
God damn, those things are loud.
It's also the anniversary of Sylvia Gaines' murder.
That's true. Do you think maybe they know that. Maybe that's a thing.
Maybe they all come out to celebrate.
All the spooks.
Or not celebrate, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Commemorate.
It's like, it's
not even
the night.
commemorate. Commemorate's the wrong word, too.
Yeah.
Remember when they murdered her?
It's like a haunted thing. You can
Yeah.
see locals being like, oh, it's June 16th.
Holy
and it's
shit.
like a warm night. But I would doubt that many of those people know the story. You know what I mean?
In fact, I hazard to guess anybody would remember Sylvia Gaines 92 years later.
All right. Oh, we can go on there's people over there. Well, we could go on that side of the dock. Look at that.
You can totally do that.
This is a pretty spot. I like this episode. So for listeners, we wanted to walk away from those kids because they were getting loud and rowdy.
And close.
And close to us. Yeah, and it was so, at first it was for sound quality, and then it was like, I'm too fucking ADD for this.
Oh my God.
I'm distracted by what they're saying.
Well, and since none of them had wings, none of them were going to fly away when we started the fucking story.
Yeah, exactly.
They were
That
just
was
gonna,
so cool.
They were just going to get closer.
I'm so glad that happened. Hi, you guys.
Hey.
No, it's not a dog.
I got excited by your imaginary dog.
No, it's just me.
Nope. Okay. This is a lot better. No diving.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, shit. That ruins our plans for the evening. Alright, so we have relocated to a dock that's a little quieter. There's some teenagers behind us, but that just seems inescapable for this evening. Alright. So when they found her body, it was arranged as though she'd been sexually assaulted, which could have been because, they wanted to be modest in them. Or they didn't even have the technology to know if she really had been or not, so it looks like maybe.
Yeah.
So I don't think they even know. The murder of Sylvia Gaines became one of the most sensational murder cases in Seattle's history. The graduate of an elite women's college, Sylvia was also the niece of William Gaines, the chair of the King County Board of Commissioners.
Oh, shit. I know who that is.
Oh, you do?
I know that. I mean, I don't know, but I know of them. Yeah,
that's like a
big part of Seattle history, yeah.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, so she was his niece. It was the front page news for months. Sylvia was born in Massachusetts in 1904. Her parents split up when she was 5 years old, and her father, Bob Gaines, moved to Washington State. In September of 1925, after graduating from Smith College, Sylvia went to Seattle to visit her father and get to know him better. Less than 10 months later, she was murdered, eventually leaving her father, a World War I veteran, the prime suspect. Bob Gaines reported his daughter Sylvia missing on June 17th of 1925, so the next day, which would be tomorrow.
Yeah.
92 years ago.
Oh my
which
God.
is so crazy.
It's bananas.
Yeah. I didn't know, by the way, I didn't plan that at all. I was doing the research and I was like, oh, it's in June. Oh, I'm going to be there. And then I looked and I was like, holy shit, that's the day we picked.
That's so perfect.
It's so perfect. It's amazing. Later, Bob was the one who identified her body at the morgue. Nobody suspected him of murdering his daughter and thought it must have been some crazed murderer, like a random assault at first. But evidence kept stacking up against her father in ways authorities just could not ignore. Details of a dark scandal began to emerge. Neighbors and friends who saw Mr. Gaines on the night Sylvia went missing reported that he was heavily intoxicated. Is this dock moving?
Yeah, I had that same feeling.
But it is moving.
It's moving, yeah.
Yeah, it's just because it's
Yeah.
It's probably connected by ropes or something.
Yeah, and there's also pontoons underneath, so it floats a little. I mean, it's floating. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I'm actually experiencing a psychosis.
No, I had the same. At first, I was like,
that.
why am I moving? And then I'm like, oh, the dock's on pontoons.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Good deal.
And there's people on it, so they're moving it.
Yeah. That makes sense. Oh yeah. So, neighbors and friends who saw Mr. Gaines on the night Sylvia went missing reported that he was heavily intoxicated and seemed disturbed by his daughter's disappearance. The following morning, when investigators spoke to him, Gaines was still intoxicated and even suggested that he knew who the murderer was. The murder trial for Sylvia Gaines began on August 2nd of 1926. Just like, a month and a half later.
So that's when the investigation into her dad started?
Well, no, the murder trial.
Oh, the murder trial. Oh, the trial.
Kinda,
Okay, yeah, for the
trial.
I keep forgetting that back in those days, cops were really fucking bad at their jobs.
Have you heard that John Mulaney joke? When he do you like him?
Yeah, I love John Mulaney.
I love him too. He has this joke where he's like, remember they would draw the chalk around the body and they'd be like, all right, we know the position it's in, but I found these blood stains. And he's like, oh, gross. Clean that up. Just, they had no DNA.
No, they were terrible. First off, they went for the father. Because that was the easiest thing back then.
Yeah.
The thought that someone would be raped and murdered by someone not in their family back then was probably like, what? That can't be real.
Yeah, but then again, that's most likely. Like, most times you're murdered by someone you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It does happen where it's random strangers, but it's more likely that it's someone you know.
By the way, weird, this popped in my head while you were reading because it was very strange. I flipped the events of when we arrived here, and they now make sense that it seems like up until just now, everything seemed like it might have actually been a distraction to not tell the story. So the crane was there as a distraction to not let you tell the story, and then when you did start the story, that crane took off. And that's when all those fucking loud teenagers showed up.
Oh, yeah.
And then they started to disturb us, so you had to pick up and move. And then when we found a car, for no fucking reason.
Oh, that was the scariest. We should describe that more to listeners. This car, we're in a park that's next to a lake. So that's why we're on a dock, in case that was confusing. But this car, as we were walking away to a new spot, this car came speeding into the grass part of the park.
Yeah,
and parked right in front of us.
Yeah, where we were going to sit.
Yeah.
Where you had picked a spot and you were like, that looks good and it's well lit and we could sit there and there's no people there. And within 30 seconds of you, or within 10 seconds of you saying that, a car just went out of the parking lot, over the embankment, into the park.
Yeah.
Where we were going to hang out. So.
Yeah, and your words were, that's not supposed to happen.
That's not supposed to happen. That's not. So in a way, when you were reading, I pieced it all together in my head and I was like, oh, maybe those things they were there, they were placed there so that we couldn't complete the story.
We will.
Oh, I'm excited about it.
But it doesn't want us to.
No, I was like, ooh, I hadn't thought about that.
And I can see why. Yeah. Oh, no, and anytime you get those ideas, just stop me. Just put a pin in it and let me know. Yeah, don't worry about interrupting me, because I have it all written down. We'll go back to where I was.
Good. I didn't want to.
No, by all means.
But I was like, I better say it now.
No, yeah, stop me. Just be like, okay, time out. That's fine. That's crazy. I wonder if more things are going to happen.
I feel like they are, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so the murder trial for Sylvia Gaines began on August 2nd of 1926. The prosecutor sought the death penalty. When the jury was selected, it consisted of 9 men and 3 women. The women on the jury got a lot of attention for this case because even though women were able to vote by 1920, in many states they were still not permitted to sit on a jury well into the 1940s.
Seattle, you guys are welcome. The rest of the country's welcome.
Yeah. When witnesses were brought to the stand, the idea that some crazed stranger had raped and murdered Sylvia began to quickly unravel, seeing as how no neighbors or people walking by heard her scream. This would suggest that Sylvia was not murdered by a stranger, but rather by someone she knew and trusted, someone she did not fear. Do you think the mics just picked up that loud, long scream?
I hope so. If nothing, this episode's going to be all about nuance.
It is. Well, you know what's weird? That was like a horror movie scream.
Yeah.
Because they've been screaming about how cold the water is, and it's like...
Yeah.
It's June 16th, so it's like the beginning of summer. It was a pretty hot day, but it's kind of a cold... I would not want to swim in
not now.
Weather. No. So they've been kind of screaming like, it's so cold, like that. But that was like loud. Like, that was a long, scary...
that was...
I hope the audio picked it up. This was really scary.
Me too. I think it probably did. It was loud enough that I'm sure it did.
It was kind of distant, though. Yeah. This is a cool... There's, like, little... You're right, nuances. Totally. And it was right after I said someone she did not fear.
Yeah.
And right when I said they didn't
perfect
hear her
timing.
scream.
Yeah. It was good timing. It was incredible timing.
Hello and welcome to the Ad for Afternoonified, the podcast where we hope to make you a little less dumb while we also become a little less dumb.
Do you want to know why some saints have never decomposed? Or why you're compelled to eat laundry detergent and home insulation?
Ugh. Maybe you've heard about the Axe Handle Hound or a demon named Zozo and want to know more.
We're here to help. Join us,
Emily,
and Ryan,
on our mission to investigate the weirder sides of science history, and that is your line.
And the paranormal on Afternoonified, part of the River City Podcast Federation.
Nailed it.
Done.
Yeah.
Boom. Come find us.
Awesome. Okay, so when her body was found, it was determined that Sylvia had been strangled and that her head had been battered with a blunt instrument. She died around 9 p.m. on the night of June 16th, and a bloody rock was found nearby. It had been determined that Sylvia was dragged several yards away from where she died, and her body had been arranged in a way that suggested that she had been sexually assaulted. Bob Gaines, her father, did testify that he and Sylvia had been arguing that night. He said that she had left angrily shortly after 8 p.m. to walk around the park, this park, and cool down, and that he had left at 8:40 p.m. to go after her. Later, he drove to the home of his drinking buddy, a guy named Louis Stern. Stern reported that Gaines had basically confessed to the murder of his daughter by saying, and this is a quote, "You know what I have always told you, that if anyone in my house told me when I should come and go, and when I should drink and how much, why, I would kill him. Well, that's what happened." That's all his quote. I mean, it doesn't really leave a lot to the imagination.
No.
Also, goddamn.
Goddamn. Holy shit.
Really blunt.
No pun intended.
Yeah, blunt object. I just thought of that Mulaney quote.
Murder pun.
And then they found a bloody rock nearby. Gross.
Oh, gross. Throw that away.
Gross. So then you get to thinking, okay, so what is his motive here if he actually did kill her? Did he really just kill his daughter because she said she didn't like him drinking so much? And it's possible, because that's basically what he said, and he could be the type of guy that's like, I don't like women controlling me or whatever. So he kills them. But the story actually takes an even darker twist.
Okay, good, because I was like, that can't be the whole, no one's going to just kill their daughter because they were like, you drink too much.
And they're just like, you know what?
I mean, he is a World War I vet, so
Yeah,
the amount of PTSD is
Yeah.
probably, that's like 8 Vietnams in your head.
Yeah, at least. So, okay. So there was a theory held by more than a few people in town. And this twist on the story, by the way, if there is some kind of spiritual intervention that's trying to stop us from telling the story, especially on this night, this is why.
Oh, okay. Oh, shit.
Okay. So there's a theory held by more than a few people in town that Gaines and his daughter had an unnatural relationship that had been going on pretty much since Sylvia got there in the first place. Remember we were talking about Ed Gein?
Yeah.
And who else were we talking about that had a relationship with his mother?
Oh, shit.
We were just talking about this.
Oh, well, the show Mr. Mercedes. He also is dating his mom.
That's what it was. Yeah, so that's
Kind of,
another
it was-
serendipitous thing about tonight. I mean, listeners won't know about that, but we were just talking about
it's all very synchronous.
Yeah. So let's go back. Sylvia came to Seattle in 1925. She was 19 years old. She hadn't seen her father since he moved out when she was 5. So she came to Seattle to get to know him. She moved in with her father and his second wife, who lived in a small one-bedroom home. Originally, Sylvia was said to have been sleeping on the couch while her father and his wife, her stepmother, slept together in their bed. The three of them fought often. The tension got so high that Mrs. Gaines actually tried to kill herself with a rifle in the home in November of 1925 when Sylvia and her father had threatened to move out and into their own apartment. I didn't find any more details about that attempted suicide.
Oh, shit.
But what the fuck? Trying to kill yourself with a rifle and not being successful? That's not usually pretty.
No, that's got to be awful.
Yeah, that can't be good. So that happened. Their neighbor said that she had reason to believe that Mrs. Gaines, the stepmother, had been booted to the couch and that Sylvia had been sharing the bed with her father.
Okay, that's creepy.
Yeah. I wrote in my notes, real cringe.
That's real. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Many people witnessed loud fights between Sylvia, her father, and her stepmother in public. Eventually, the stepmother was said to have moved out and gone to California, and a visitor to the household testified at the court that Sylvia had been sharing the one bedroom with her father. One time, a cop caught Sylvia and her father in a parked car late at night at Woodland Park. Like teenagers making out might be found.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he said the car was parked with the lights off, and when he approached the vehicle, he heard a, quote, scramble in the car, unquote.
Oh, no.
Yeah. A maid at a hotel in downtown Seattle called the New Arctic Hotel. I don't know, is that still a thing?
No, but I think I've seen pictures of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's the hotel. So a maid there testified that in November of 1925, when Sylvia first got there, or wait, whatever, shortly after she got there, she actually saw Gaines and his daughter in their night clothes together in bed in the hotel.
Okay.
Maybe
Ooh.
the most damning evidence of their unnatural relationship came from Gaines's sister-in-law, so the stepmother's sister. When she told the court that earlier that spring, her husband knocked on the door of the Gaines residence unexpectedly and witnessed Bob peek out the front window while Sylvia, wearing only a nightgown, desperately rearranged the couch behind him to make it seem as though she'd been sleeping there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's Father's Day weekend.
Oh, yeah, Father's Day weekend. It's all lining up. Oh,
my God. That's another synchronicity thing that I didn't even think of.
I didn't even think that this is all perfect.
Oh, God.
I mean, not perfect. It's perfect in the way it's lining up, but it's a horrific. Ugh.
Yeah, it's perfectly horrific. I love it.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
So it was suggested that Bob Gaines may have killed his daughter in a jealous alcoholic rage on the night of June 16th. Even though there was a nationwide prohibition at the time, Bob Gaines was said to drink raw moonshine and become extremely violent. So I don't know what raw moonshine means. Like, what makes it raw?
I think it's just I think it's just moonshine.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, it's moonshine is raw. Yeah, you can't. It's the most pure distilled liquor. I mean, it's there's nothing else to it. It can't be raw. It can't be more raw unless they put agave in it or.
Ooh, sounds good. Well, I left it in there just in case it's something I didn't know about that you're like, oh, if it's raw, that means, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's kombucha.
Yeah,
It's got its own sourdough starter in it.
Moonshine is always made in like a jar. Anyway, like in some.
It's made in a shitty, non-copper still, made out of old cans or an oil barrel, and.
Yeah, I mean, I've never made moonshine, so I have no idea.
I've been to Kentucky, and my sister lives in Harlan, Kentucky, which is where they do a lot of the mining out there. And last 2 times I visited, I had moonshine. That's all you can drink there. You can't buy liquor in Harlan County.
I think I've tried moonshine once. Like, I think I don't know. I feel like someone was like, do you want to try this? It's moonshine. I was like, I have to. The sort of like backyard still moonshine is pretty terrifying. Like terrible. Yeah.
It's not bad in the sense that, like, if you're a booze hound, you'll be like, yeah, it's booze, and it's
drunk.
It's 180 proof.
Yeah.
And or higher. Some of it can make you blind, depending on how fast you drink it. You're not blind forever.
The only time I feel like one time at my ex-boyfriend's dad's house, he had this room he called the Voodoo Lounge, where everyone would just get. It was so fun. Everyone would just get like really, really drunk. And I feel like one of his friends one time was like, "Oh, I have moonshine." and I was already hammered, and I like tried a shot of it or something.
Oh yeah,
but I don't remember
brutal.
how it tasted or anything because I was already super drunk.
Oh yeah,
know?
It's
like that's still alcohol.
I mean, it's heavy, but you can't in Harlan and some of those other counties in the Deep South. They have a prohibition on alcohol sales because it cuts into the sales of moonshine.
Oh, what?
So you can't in Harlan County. You can buy low alcohol beer at the Dollar Saver and a couple other places, but you can't buy alcohol outside of that in Harlan County. You can't buy hard alcohol. Because the moonshiners actually, this is how fucked up the Deep South is. They got pissed at one time because they were like, we can't live financially if this other alcohol is available. We live on the money that we have from distilling. Yeah. And so that's their livelihood.
Yeah.
And so because there's probably one or two people in Harlan County that have all of their teeth, as far as the ones that are on the city
blind.
council, yeah. And my sister was like, "Holy shit!" But yeah, you can only get moonshine. So in order to get it, we had to take an ATV all the way through the woods and the holler up to this big hill to go meet a couple of dudes who fucking Nazi tattoos and a Confederate flag and a copper kettle, and I was like, "Oh shit."
I wouldn't want to be there, first of all, period. And
No.
second of all, I would not want to be intoxicated there.
No, in fact, we had my brother-in-law, my wife's husband, was like, yeah, we're just going to go buy it and we're going to get the fuck out of here. But he's like, that's the only booze we can get.
A drug deal.
Yeah. It's real shit.
Oh, but it was still moonshine.
Oh, it was still moonshine because we were right by, I mean, we went up to their still to buy it. They bottled it up there, and then you go up and I think he traded a .22 rifle for a big jug of moonshine.
So we didn't even pay in cash?
Nah, they barter everything out there.
Oh my God. I'm so scared. But there's so many haunted places, I bet, in the South.
Holy fuck. What's the old line from, oh, God damn it, the Lost Boys is when Grandpa's like, if every murdered body stood up at once around here, there wouldn't be any room to move around.
Oh.
And that's how I feel about the South. Like, if every murdered person buried in the ground stood up at once, holy shit.
From, like, since America was a country, because then, like, all the, like, slavery and everything.
Just that alone would be horrible. But just the last 10 years, you'd probably be like, oh, my God.
Oh, my God, yeah.
It's a creepy place. But, yeah, it was. We had to buy it because my brother-in-law was like, you can't get booze, so I go up and buy moonshine from these assholes, and...
it's like a drug deal. It sounds like, only it's even more horrifying.
Guns, they fucking guns out there and hanging out on lawn chairs and fucking smoking a ton of weed and probably talking about how much they hate Jews. And and then we had to give them money because we were like, we drink and there's no bars. There's no bars.
Yeah.
There's no bars for like 30 miles.
Oh,
so yeah, you got to get all the way out of the county, 2 different counties, before you can get to an actual tavern.
And can you go out 2 counties and buy liquor there and then drive back?
You can, but you don't want to get caught by the police.
Oh, it's illegal to bring liquor across?
They'll hassle you, or they'll tell your neighbors.
Well, you just stick it in the trunk like you always would with liquor.
Yeah, hopefully. But, I mean, this is also a place where the miners, they make so little money that most of their kids, like when you come into Harlan County, there's a little stretch of road where they call them the guardrail girls. And it's mainly the teenage daughters of a lot of the families are out on the guardrail waiting for truck drivers and other customers to pick them up.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Guardrail girls. What a terrifying place.
Yeah, even the name of that just sounds scary.
Harlan, Kentucky. It's a real... Hey, can you guess who they voted for? They're big Clinton.
I bet they're big Obama.
They're big Clinton
supporters.
fans. Yeah, they love black people a lot. They really do.
Yeah, they're like 8 more years.
This is great.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that scares me more than anything. There's like fish jumping, which is kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
I love lakes and like little.
This is awesome.
Yeah, this is a good spot. That's the Michigan in me. Like, oh, it's gonna be a lake.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Okay, so where were we? Okay, so yeah, he drank raw moonshine, whatever the fuck that means, and would become extremely violent, which seems to be a moonshiner.
It's a moonshine thing, yeah.
Yeah.
You're either extremely violent when you sell it or when you drink it.
Yeah. The prosecutor suggested that Gaines was sexually involved with his daughter and that she may have threatened to leave him or to reveal their incestual relationship, and he killed her over it. Besides, he basically confessed to his buddy, Louis Stern, which is like, to me, that's a confession, the way he said it. It was a quote and everything.
Oh, my God.
Plus, a criminologist testified that human blood was found on Bob's clothing. So, yeah, they didn't have the DNA testing, but they're like, this is blood.
Yeah, you can tell it's blood. Like,
that's not good. Yeah, they taste it. And like, yeah, blood.
They smelled it.
Like,
smells like pennies.
Yeah, exactly.
Smells like copper pennies.
It took the jury about 3 hours to find Gaines guilty, which all considering is really not that long.
No, that's really quick.
Yeah, I mean, but even then it's like 3 hours. What were they doing that whole time?
Yeah.
Like, besides maybe being like, just in case he's not guilty.
Yeah, that's an
Devil's
anniversary
advocate.
dinner at the Olive Garden.
Yeah,
3 hours.
yeah.
That's about how long it took.
They went to the Olive Garden. They kind of got distracted. They started telling their own story.
It was his sister-in-law's 3rd wedding anniversary, and
And they were all like, oh, you know what? We're getting off target. We all think Bob's guilty. We do. We do.
Oh, yeah,
think
we
he's
do.
guilty.
We totally do.
When we wrap this up, we'll let them know. Yeah. Another round of breadsticks and then we'll
one
get
more.
back in there. Yeah.
bottomless salad. That's crazy. Who needs that much salad?
No.
All right, we'll have one more.
Well, hey. When you're here, your family. I don't know if it's that Olive Garden. Maybe that's something else. That could be Applebee's or something. Like I said, I don't have cable. Is it? What?
Huh?
When you're here,
when you're here, your family.
That's Olive Garden?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
They used to be Hospitaliano until everybody in Italy was like, stop fucking saying that's not a word. Hospitaliano.
Which is like the name of their hospital or something.
Some kind, yeah.
You're like, that's not, that word is not what you think it means. But it's just not a word at all.
Yeah, it's not a real Italian word.
That's amazing. So yeah, it took the jury about 3 hours to find Gaines guilty. Although he attempted to appeal his case, the appeal failed, and he was sentenced to death. He was hanged on August 31st, 1928 in Walla Walla.
Ooh, that's way out there.
Where is that?
Walla Walla is in eastern Washington. It's over the Cascades, on the other side of the Cascades.
So like how far is it from Seattle? How many hours drive?
6.
Oh, wow.
5 or 6.
Okay. I wonder why they went all the way there. And what a dumb name for a town, Walla Walla.
It's, the town's so nice, they named it twice. You know, it's really, so I've been talking about synchronicity tonight. That was, what I just said, those are my first words this morning. Because I got up and was literally thinking about Walla Walla for no reason, just in my head.
Shit, really?
I got up and it was in my head, and I made my way downstairs, and it was the first thing I said out loud when I was making coffee was, Walla Walla, the town's so nice, they named it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are my first words today.
How weird is that?
So that just jostled me when you were like, where, like, Walla Walla. I'm like, oh yeah, it is a dumb name for a town.
It is so dumb. It sounds like the name of like a Muppet.
Reminded me of this morning. Yeah. It's a dumb name, but they also have the best onions. That's what they're known for. I was just going to say, isn't that the onions? They're like sweet onions. And Walla Walla, and a lot of that part of eastern Washington is, they call it the, what's it? What's the cool, it's in the California mountains. It's a place where people go skiing, but they also...
Lake Tahoe?
Yeah, it's the Lake Tahoe of Washington.
Walla Walla is?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what they consider it. Yeah, because it's bi-temperate in the sense that like they get a ton of snow, and so people like to come out there and ski and hunt.
Awful.
And then in the summertime, it's just gorgeous and beautiful, and it's great for growing onions and apples. Huh. Yeah.
That's
because you're out in apple country.
I'll have to go out there in the summer, not the winter. But that's so weird that you thought about that this morning.
That was my first thing out of bed this morning. It just the word popped into my head, because every day I have a weird thing where I get up and I have whatever was in my brain is they say it out loud. Mm-hmm. So it's the first thing that comes to mind. I usually say it out loud. Just to have it, even just to like for writing. Yeah, because it just makes me laugh. Mm-hmm. Usually the first words out of my mouth, I'm just like, I never have anything serious. It's usually something stupid or rhymey or... What I do, if I wake up from a dream, I like whisper it to myself so that I'll remember it. Well, that's smart. So, because like if you say it out loud, you'll remember it.
And then, because usually I'm trying to work out details where I'm like, okay, I was at the fair and I was trying to find someone. Oh no, I was with my dad was there. And then this, I'll start coming up with the details.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then I remember it.
Oh, that's
if
awesome.
If I don't do that, I'll forget it. That's the only thing I say when I wake up. Strangely, Bob's wife, who you would think would just be like, fuck him.
Yeah.
Continued to insist on his innocence even after he died.
His her stepmother?
So Sylvia's stepmother, the one who they basically kicked out, the one who tried to kill herself with a rifle.
Yeah.
She
was distraught over this.
So Bob Gaines was convicted of murdering Sylvia, and he was sentenced to be hanged in Walla Walla. And she continued to insist he was innocent. He insisted he was innocent straight until the end. But what's interesting, in my mind, I think of that as his wife was kind of manipulated by him probably, and was kind of
probably a victim of abuse.
Totally. And the fact that she would want to kill herself over this instead of just be like, fuck this is weird.
Well, it's like those people you've worked in jobs where the shittiest person gets fired finally, and that's when everybody's like, wait, what? Neil's getting fired. If Neil's going, I'm going.
Yeah.
It's because they just live for so long under manipulative, negative energy that as soon as that person's gone, they're like, no fair.
Yeah.
So
and they don't know how to live without that structure, even though it was fucked up. Which is probably why, that's the whole thing about how Nazis even existed, because it's it's a structure, and it's fucked up. But these people need to have some kind of structure to follow, and they need to have, I don't know how.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
It's that evil, manipulative group mentality type thing. But that also works on a micro scale in abusive relationships, which is what I think the Gaines.
I mean, that's clearly that's that's sort of the runoff, the psychological runoff of a very abusive relationship.
Yeah, which is totally what I think it is, especially if it resulted in her in self-harm. Usually that's because you've been beating it, they've been beating her up psychologically. It seemed like both Sylvia and her dad were fighting with this poor woman. Well,
because my mom used to say, because she had a pretty abusive childhood and then she married into abusive people.
Oh, yeah.
And her thing was... the one key thing that she noticed psychologically was you feel responsible because they make you feel responsible, because they keep saying things like, look what you made me do. Mm-hmm. Or if you wouldn't have said this, I wouldn't have done this. It's your fault. You're the reason that I'm like this. I wasn't like this before I met you. Mm-hmm. And years of that conditioning, you start to feel responsible. It's a Helsinki syndrome.
I think that's true. And then I think... I'm going to do one of those yes ands, because I think another thing that happens is that these people build up this idea of themselves that they're not worthy of anything positive.
Yeah.
And so then they find someone who affirms their negative self-beliefs, that they'll find someone who... This is why I always date shitty guys. I know from experience, I'm just found another narcissist. I'm so good at doing that. Or they're just look... You're garbage. And I'm like, thank you, I agree. This is what I've been looking for.
I can manage this.
This is something I understand. Yeah. And then it's then you have to learn how to recognize it and move away from that and whatever. But I think that that's a big part of it too, is that you are not comfortable with someone being you're great. You're just no, I'm not. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's the Groucho Marx quote where he's I would never want to be a part of any club that would have me. You know?
Yeah.
It's totally that. So it's these people are kind of attracted to people that treat them poorly because it affirms this deep belief they have of themselves, which I did not realize we were going to get so much into Mrs. Gaines. I don't even know her first name.
Oh shit, but, this is crazy.
Yeah, but I feel for her, especially the attempted suicide.
Well, I mean, being pushed out of your marriage by your spouse's child.
Weird.
And not just... I can imagine being pushed out emotionally. I can imagine you haven't seen your child in a long time and now they're going to take precedence. Mm-hmm. But if that child is boning your spouse, that's fucking shocking. How do you reconcile that child having sex with their parent and still being married to that person.
And the fact that she wasn't like, this is fucked up, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
She was booted to the couch and took it. That's the sad thing.
And it was like, oh, my relationship is sour. I guess I'll eat this gun. And that's how much responsibility she took on herself. Like, that sucks.
I don't know how she did it because it obviously didn't work. But basically, this is what I was going to say. So Bob's wife continued to insist he was innocent, and Bob also, right until the day he was hung, said he was innocent, which isn't shocking. Like, that happens a lot. But a spiritual advisor that visited him on death row actually mentioned to the private investigator of the case that he was uncertain of Bob's guilt in the crime.
Ooh. Oh,
but
no.
I mean, he still was probably boning his daughter, which,
yeah.
So.
I mean, no big loss genetically at that point. Like,
no.
Yeah, you're done. We can live without you.
We're set. Yeah. So where there was once a grove of alder trees at the north end of Green Lake, by the community center, the community planted more than 30 large black cottonwoods. Those cottonwoods were there for 70 years and were once roosting places for bald eagles, which is really cool.
Oh, wow.
I think cottonwoods are pretty trees, too.
Yeah, they're
awesome. It would be
awesome.
cool if those are still there. In 1999, however, the Seattle Park Department said that as the cottonwoods got older, their limbs began to drop, threatening public safety. So they had to get rid of them and replace them with more durable poplar trees, which is what we were looking for.
That's the poplars.
Yeah. So this is the area that's now called Gaines Point in memory of Sylvia Gaines.
Oh, wow.
There are reports of Sylvia's ghostly figure wandering around here at night. Some say her ghost has no body, that instead it's just a head that can be seen hiding behind the bushes and trees at night, lingering around the memorial known as Gaines Point. So lingering around this general area, sticking out of trees and stuff, which is totally creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy. She doesn't seem like she'd be a malevolent ghost.
No, just curious.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like 22, so she's the same age as all these kids hanging out or close to it. And she's probably like,
Hey, I boned my dad. What'd you do? I boned my dad, now I'm a ghost. So don't bone your parents, kids.
Yeah, see? This is what happens.
Yeah.
Dare.
That's the fucking one-armed guy from Arrested Development. This is why you don't. This is.
Yeah, oh yeah.
God damn it.
Those who have seen her full body apparition, though, see a transparent figure walking on the trails here, and many claim to have heard her sobbing at night. There have even been ghost investigators at this spot that captured what seemed to be her voice attempting to answer their questions.
Hey, demons, it's your boy.
It's your boy. So I think I forgot to do this before, but I'm going to do a rundown of my sources really quick.
Oh, yeah.
So I used historylink.org, seattlepi.com,
The post-intelligencer.
theshadowlands.net, and 2 books. One is called Haunted Washington by Adam Woog, and Spooked in Seattle, A Haunted Handbook by Ross Allison.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that is the story of Sylvia Gaines.
Oh.
High five.
High five.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's
weekend.
Day. Oh, my God, yeah.
I hope you had as much fun as we did at Gaines Point in Seattle, Washington. If you're in the Seattle area this weekend, you can catch Derek Sheen at Laughs Comedy Club on July 6th and 7th. Don't forget to check out his website, DerekSheenRules.com, for upcoming tour dates and news about Derek. While you're at it, check out our website too. You can find us at litdarkpodcast.com. That's LITDARKpodcast.com. We have brand new merch available now. If you love this show, we would so appreciate it if you subscribed and rated us 5 stars on iTunes. Let us know what you love about it. It truly means the world to us. Special thanks for this episode goes out to Sarah Schneider, my manager, Jonathan Cooper, my graphic designer, Randall Lawrence, my amazing producer, Nick Wilson at Bridge City Media and Design, Dan Stutzman for being you and all you do, Derek Sheen, my guest, and of course, as always, a very special thanks to all of you for listening.
City Podcast Federation.